Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Land Rover Range Rover with the third row. This might just be the ultimate family car. I'll explain in today's review. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in Lehigh for giving me some time with this Range Rover. I'll include a link to the website in the description down below. If you have any questions, just ask for Bradley. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering this is a twin-turbo 4.4-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic. Fuel economy is 16 around town, and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 523 horsepower and then 553 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So when it comes to the design of the Range Rover, it's very simplistic. So although this is a crazy luxury car, pretty understated. I mean, look at the hood. You can see the lights here as well. Of course, you got Range Rover there on the front end. And then you've got the fog lights down below. But, I mean, obviously being a Range Rover, people are always going to notice it, but it's not too flashy, I'd say. Tire and wheel setup is 285 by 40 by 23 in the front and over in the rear. And yeah, these are definitely big wheels. Love the silver there. Blacked out brake caliper too. You can see Autobiography there on the side. So the blacked out trim at the bottom. But again, look at the side profile. Let me actually lock the doors. So you can see with the handles, once they're into the bodywork, I mean, that's just super sleek looking. Now we of course have the Land Rover key fob here, which very substantial feeling, very premium feeling. Now this is one thing that I love about the full size, is you've got the tailgate here in the back. You can see the rubber mat here in the rear. And guess what? This one has a third row. This is why this is such a good family car. So you notice here for the seats to raise and lower them, and then also the suspension you can raise and lower with that function. Now the rear passengers get vents, and you can see that headroom's actually pretty solid there in the back. But yeah, really nice leather upholstery for the rear passengers. Obviously it's the third row that you're going to want to reserve for kids, but it adds the practicality because you can see you've got 2 up front, 3, and then you've got 2 more in the back. So 7 passenger capacity. Then we'll close it all up. So just press that. And then again, you can see the rear end with the taillights is very understated. I mean, look at the taillights, for example. Definitely a good looking vehicle. Now this leads us into the passenger cabin. You can see the door is extra long. I mean, look at the size of that behemoth. Really nice trim all across. You can see the wood trim down below. You've got your seat adjustments on the side. So with the window control set up and everything. And again, all the way down, beautiful trim. And then for the seats, so everything's user-friendly there. And even this is covered in leather. But yeah, look at the seats, perforated all down the center. You got TVs here in the back. Tons of room. So whether you do car seats or just have bigger kids, great space. Got your own climate zone here in the rear as well. These seats also recline, so comfortable on those long road trips. You can see the grab handle set up there at the top. Just really nice in general. And this is the nice thing about getting the longer version. And I'm pretty sure this is I'll double check. Yeah, this is the long wheelbase. I was gonna say it looks like the long wheelbase. But yeah, that's the benefit of getting the long wheelbase, is you get the big door. And then we'll quickly go over everything in the front here. So again, really nice trim all throughout. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then again with the seats. Very fancy pants, look at that as well. And then popping in here, door sounds solid when you close it. You notice for these new Range Rovers, it's very minimalist. So you've got digital gauge cluster, practical controls in the steering wheel, nice paddle shifters there in the back, regular stalks behind it. Pretty much everything's controlled here on the screen. It does also come with a nice 360 camera. But yeah, I mean, like your climate controls, for example, are controlled on the screen. You can see here, drive mode select, all of that, right? If I press the modes, that'll be for the drive modes. All of that is controlled in the screen. Got the double glove box. And then this is just storage down here. Quickly move my backpack out of the way. Got the center console with the cool function there. And then camera rear view mirror. And then with the Autobiography, you get this leather headliner, so it's definitely more premium feeling. So this leads us to the window sticker, and the Autobiography is not cheap by any means. This one stickers for $184,830, but it's a lot less expensive than the SV, and this has a lot of the same. It doesn't have quite the same luxury, but it has a lot of the luxury at like, what's $60,000, $40,000 less, depending on how you spec out an SV. Anyways, let's take this out and drive it. Oh, Range Rover Autobiography. And I will say the steering wheel with the wood trim on the outside is very cool feeling, and it just slides through your hands. I love that. I absolutely love that. So why is this mirror down? Just turn that up. Turn it up in the Range Rover. This is obviously a very expensive vehicle, and most people that have kids are not in the financial situation to go and spend this amount of money on a car. Kids are expensive, I know. I got 2 of them. But if you happen to be filthy rich, I don't think there's a better family car than this, as crazy as that sounds. Because first off, the V8, super smooth, but also it's got tons of power. I mean, that's like barely 3,000 RPMs. And this thing just, boom, is quiet. And the suspension is very comfortable. Again, independent suspension all around, air suspension. So even on 23s, this is just like riding on a cloud. I think that Range Rover really does make the best luxury cars. And I say that as someone who has reviewed some of the more high-end stuff, like real high-end stuff, you know, Mercedes Maybach, Rolls-Royce, Bentley. I've driven those cars, and they're really nice. They're very bespoke, but they, I don't know, they don't really drive any better than a Range Rover. In some cases, like the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, I think that drives worse than a Range Rover, actually. And the thing to note about those more bespoke brands is, yeah, you do get the status symbol and everything, but they just don't feel all that well put together, as crazy as that sounds. Again, you're doing everything by hand, and it's like, they're not poorly... Okay, person just ran a red light. Oh, I guess they had, maybe they had a yield. Yeah, they had a yield. You're supposed to yield, buddy. Yeah, great power. It's the first time I've seen one of those Silverado EVs on the road. But yeah, this is, I don't know, I think this is like the pretty much as expensive as you need to go for luxury. That's just my take, having reviewed a bunch of cars. Anything more expensive than this, and you're paying for the badge, you're paying for the status symbol, and you're paying for more exotic materials in some cases, I just don't think that's necessarily worth it from a luxury perspective. I'm all about value, and obviously this is expensive, but this is objectively better than what you're gonna get at the $100,000 price point. Sub $100,000 for sure. There's nothing that you can buy that's under $100,000 new that can compete with this. In terms of over $100,000, I'd say the Mercedes GLS Maybach, it's still not on the same level, but it's nice. It's got some luxury. I really do like the engine's got so much low end grunt, and it's very smooth. It's the thing that I love about the V8s. Even, you know, turbo V8s aren't as good as NA V8s when it comes to smoothness, but they're still really smooth. And they develop enough power on the low end, like, and you can obviously get into it, and then it's just a monster. And being a BMW engine, BMW just does a really good job with their tuning. So to pull everything together, really nice interior, and my wife and I owned a Defender for some time, and so I can tell you that I know some people will be worried about these materials. They're really easy to clean off. That was something that I discovered, that I was kind of concerned, because we got a light interior on our Defender, but milk and other stuff that kids spill, it was actually shockingly easy to clean out of the car. So the interiors are actually pretty easy to clean up. Very nice. And just tons of sound insulation. Like, this is a car that you drive and it just feels comfortable. You really do feel like you're in a luxury, and it is a luxury car, but you actually feel like you're in a luxury car. Some luxury cars, like Audi is a good example. You don't feel like you're in a luxury car in an Audi, even though they claim to be luxury. right? So yeah, it's got all that, and it's got the space, it's got the passenger capacity. The only other Land Rover, and there's one right there, the only other Land Rover that I could see being a cool kind of family car would be a Defender. Why I would get this over the Defender is I think it looks a lot better than a 130. I think the 110 is as big as a Defender should be in terms of looks. And then also it's just more luxe. It is more expensive, that's for sure. But you know, when it comes to, if you're looking for all out luxury and you're not going to do any sort of off-roading, then you can't beat this. It's absolutely fantastic. Man, that is nice. I always forget how nice Range Rovers are until you go and drive one. And then I understand why people are willing to take the depreciation hit and deal with the reliability quirks, because when you do drive one of these, like, it's really hard to beat.